Welcome to Revit 2019 Demo 29. For this lecture, we're going to continue from Revit 2019 Demo 27. So we'll go ahead and open up Revit 2019 Demo 27. For this lecture, we're going to discuss electrical plans. For electrical plans, we're going to go to Level 1 Electrical. So Level 1 Electrical is set up here. Now, I actually want to rename my ceiling plan and duplicate this view with detailing. Inside of the Gallatin College Revit book, there's a process for creating an electrical plan that affiliates the underlay of a ceiling plan to a level plan. I think for the best interest of an electrical plan, we'll go ahead and just create it to a level 1 electrical plan as a ceiling plan. I don't like the way that the book goes over overlaying the underlay to the floor plan. There are positives of how you could use that, but as a whole, it's not set up quite correctly or quite accurately enough. So for this view, what we're going to do is we're going to delete the ACT ceiling plan that was drawn over on the far right, and we're going to just draw out the ceiling plan to the kitchen. Now, we do want to go to this electrical plan and set the base range to level 1 so that we can see where that is. And then from here, we're going to go into architecture ceiling, and we're going to draw a gypsum wallboard on metal stud and switch that to a 2-foot by 4-foot ACT system. We're going to do a sketch ceiling, and I'm going to draw just a rectangle or a square from here to here. Now, once that's drawn, I'm going to go in and start loading some lights. So we're going to go to architecture, place a component, load family, and I want to load in from our Imperial library. Now, on this quick access bar on the left, you'll notice that there's an Imperial library that you can select from. We're going to go into electrical, architectural, electrical power, terminals, and we're going to choose the duplex, the GFI, so outlet duplex, outlet GFI, switch single, switch three-way. So I want all 4 of those loaded in. So we're going to load those in. And then I also want to load some lighting families. So we're going to load family. We're going to go up to electrical and then up one more, which is US Imperial, to lighting. Under lighting, we're going to go to architectural, internal, and I want to choose the downlight recessed can, the ceiling light flat round, and the 2x4 troffer light parabolic. So those are going to get loaded into the project. Now, once I've loaded in all those families, I'm pretty much set to go on my electrical plan. So to do that, I'm going to go in and I'm going to place the downlight recessed can lights. But in order to place them, I have to have ceilings. So we're going to create some ceilings in these spaces. And I don't want them to be these ceilings. So if I undo 3 times, that's how I can prevent that. And I want to make sure that I select the proper type from the property selector on the left. So I'm going to do gypsum wallboard, and you'll notice that the sand color's still there, the sand pattern's still there from the last lecture. Now, inside of architecture, I want to go to component, and I want to place 4 of these recessed can lights in each room. And I know that's a bit excessive, but it'll kind of explain the best practice of how to set this up for these rooms. So I'm kind of just placing them arbitrarily in here, but ultimately what I want to do is I want to align them. So this will just help get you more comfortable with the align tool. I'm not aligning multiple, I'm just aligning one at a time. So it'll click one, click the second, and it just goes through and aligns everything correctly. Now, notice that that's not aligned, so that's now aligned. These are aligned. I want to align from here to here. Oops, I missed AL. From here to here. And then I want to go from here to here to here to here. So I'm just hitting that initial align point to the second, initial to the second. But the thing is, I want these aligned. So I'm just going to get everything sort of aligned nicely. Now I'm going to come in and place the components for those troffer lights. So I can literally type in troffer, and I want the 120 volt, and I'm going to place them arbitrarily, but just approximately in a space of a ceiling grid from here to here. Now those are in place. This one's slightly off. That's fine for now. What I could do is I could go into 3D, zoom up, turn off my floors, so VV floors, and then select that, go back to the level 1 electrical and it's selected, and I can kind of arrow key it into place. So I'm just arrow keying that into place. Now what I want to do is I want to go into architecture component and I want to select a switch. So I'm going to type in switch and I want to place a single switch and I want to place it here. Now one thing you'll notice is it's not showing up in this ceiling plan. Now I'm going to change my alignments here to make sure that it's set up correctly. So I'm hitting VV. I'm going to check, okay, electrical fixtures are turned off, annotation is all turned on, everything's on of what I want to see. The problem is I can't see the switch. So if I adjust my view range, currently my cut plane is set to 7'6". I'm going to set this to 4 feet or 3'6", and now I can see it. I actually want this to be a 1/4 inch electrical plan, so now I can see where that switch is at. Now I want to select this switch and create similar and just go through and basically place roughly where all the switches are going to go. And in this case, that's approximately where they're going to go. Now I don't have doors in these rooms, so I can go ahead and create similar and just kind of get some doors placed. If I hit the space bar, it'll flip them back and forth. For now, we're going to place that one there, this one here. Notice that switch is in the wrong spot, so we'll kind of just arrow key it up to where I want it. And then I'll create another similar door here that's right about there. Now, ideally, I want to go from the core finish to the interior, and I want this number to be about 4 inches. That means the switches are going to have to move, so I'm just kind of adjusting these electrical plans to get them nicely done. DI from interior core to there. That's a little bit off, so if I select this, 4 inches, there we go. Now we're in good shape. We'll do the same thing here, where I DI from here to here, adjust this to 4 inches. 4 inches is just a general standard. So now I have everything kind of in place of where I want it, at least from here and here. And what I want to do is I want to go in and start drawing wire. And the wire is essentially going to be diagrammatic at this point in time. So what we're going to do is draw just annotate detail line, and we want to select hidden lines. Now I'm going to select this hidden line, and I'm going to do a start end radius arc, and if I highlight, I can find that. That's here. That means I'm going to go start point to end point radius arc. And then I want to go start point to end point radius arc. Now that's a little bit off, so I'll go ahead and redraw it. So I'll go to annotate detail line, and I'm going to select the start end radius arc. And I'm going to go from here to here, and I'm going to hit escape once and go from here to here. Escape once, here to here. Now you can see I'm really starting to get this kind of honed in for an electrical plan. So same thing, just kind of going through, drawing my arc, getting it all lined out how I want it to be, and just going through and drawing arc. So we're just going to continue through until we get all the way up to the kitchen completed. Notice how I drew that one so that it's not overwriting the other line or the other wire. And we're just continuing on. And then now we're in the kitchen, so I'm going to go ahead and hit detail line, hidden line. Go from here to here. Now I didn't select the correct endpoint at that point, that's why it drew it wrong. So I want to make sure I draw it correctly, because this is an arc. So we can SM to snap middle, and we'll get into that a little bit later. And then end to end, here to here. Now I've ballpark gotten a basic electrical plan going, and notice it's set as a ceiling plan. Now I don't want to see these in there, and I don't want to see this in there, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And I can go ahead and hide these sections and hide these elevations, and now I've got a ballpark plan set up that illustrates the electrical. Now what's important about that is that we're able to see this electrical plan. So now if I go in and I create an electrical plan, I'm going to create a new size sheet, new sheet, and I'm going to call it A202. Rename A202, and we're going to call this electrical plan level 1. And from here, I'm going to grab that ceiling level 1 electrical and place it. And now I can kind of see what's going on. Now, one thing we didn't put in are the lighting fixtures, so we'll go ahead and put a few of those in. We did put some lighting fixtures in, but we didn't put all of them in. And so we will want to put some of those in. We also want to show the view title on this view. So we're going to apply that to ensure that it shows level 1 electrical at a 1/4 inch scale. And then under level 1 electrical, we'll come in and you can continue placing components. So if I put lighting, it's not showing lighting, but I could do ceiling light, which is right here, 120. And I can go ahead and place that in the center of each room. And I'm just ballparking it right there, but if I really wanted to get it fine-tuned, I could draw corner to corner detail lines. And then what I could do is just align to the center point of that room. Or I could at least find the center, draw another detail line, and then align to the end point of that line to the center point of that light. And then I'll just go ahead and delete these out, and now I know that's in the center of that room. I'll hit DL, draw from corner to corner. I typed in SE there to snap to that corner because it wasn't snapping. So corner to corner, SE, snaps to that corner. DL again to grab the midpoint. So detail line to draw it, midpoint, align to the end point of that line we just drew to the center point of that. Delete these out. Now you could do this with dimensions or temporary dimensions as well if you know what the center point is, but more often than not you don't. So just doing a quick DL to each endpoint here will work. So detail line, and now I'm going to draw one more detail line at the midpoint, AL, so I'm just real quickly kind of flying through this. And now I've got all of those lights in place in the center of that room. Now realistically the switch would affect that light. Now what I could do is I could create a second switch. So I could create similar, come in here, place that, hit detail line, and I could draw that hidden detail line with the start end radius arc to this, and then you'd have two switches. And realistically that'd snap to this SM midpoint. That's what I typed in was SM to snap mid. And then I'll go ahead and create similar here. And I'm just kind of quickly going through and laying this thing out. And from here to here, it's ballpark correct. That's good enough. We'll go ahead and do another one. Create similar, place, detail line from here to here. Now you can use the Gallatin College Revit book as an example guideline for this, but realistically what I'm doing in this video is going to be far better than the route that went through in the class notes. So we'll go ahead and just keep with this for your electrical plans, and you'll notice that electrical plan level 1 is now set up correctly. So it's looking really good. Everything's updating to the sheets. Everything I just drew for those lights are in place. Everything's looking good. If I view it in 3D, I can kind of see that I've placed some of those lights in. The light that I placed in the center is hanging below the ceiling, so it's all in there. If I were to go into to kind of see what this looks like in a room, I could go to level 1, and we haven't talked about this, but what I could do realistically in level 1, I don't want to see the switches, so I can hide in view by category, and now that's hidden, and that won't update this level 1 electrical. Now since I'm not using this level 1 electrical, I'm going to go ahead and delete it. And if I go to level 1, those switches aren't shown. Level 1 ceiling plan, they're shown. We'll go back to level 1. In level 1, if I place a camera in this bedroom 1 from the doorway, or approximately the doorway, to the outside point, notice my offset is 5'6" off the floor. I'm 6'4" tall, so if I set that perspective level, that's going to set the height of the camera for me, and I can place it here. Now what's going to happen is now I can start to see what's going on interior-wise in this room. I can see that the ceiling is right at the top of that window, so that's something I may want to adjust a little bit later. And then I can kind of pull this out and kind of distort the view a bit to kind of see what the inside of that room looks like. If I type in SD just like anything else, we're going to get that shaded area. I'm going to leave it at HL for now, but if things look a little bit distorted, that's probably just your perspective range and kind of the way that you've got things cropped. but realistically I can see what's going on in this room. I can also turn shadows on. So because the sun is not out or it's not set correctly, it's not going to show the lighting in the room. But if I turned the sun on and started adjusting different values, I could see the lighting in this room. But what I'm getting at is showing you that we're drawing the electrical plan three-dimensionally by placing these objects, and it's live updating that view. So if I had these preset camera angles set up and they were already on sheets and I had to adjust lighting, it's going to live update those other views. So for now, what we'll go ahead and do is we'll notice that when I place that camera and hit 3D view, I can go to 3D view 1. And for now, we'll just go ahead and save this as project Revit 2019 demo 29. And I'll see you in the next lecture.